had SSD, okay? That is showing skin disorder, that I had to show skin somewhere on my body, no longer just posting just to show off a sexy outfit. Like I'm posting to show God's goodness. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This verse began to convict me. This verse began to challenge me. What's going on, VictoryRiders out there? It's your girl, V here, and I am back with another video. And as you guys can see, we're on the chit chat couch. So that means I'm bringing to y'all a chit chat video with my baby next to me. And in today's video, we'll be talking about modesty. Okay, because truth be told, your girl has been struggling with modesty, I'll say for the past 5 or 6 years now. And we're going to dive into it. So let's buckle on in and let's dive into a video about modesty. So to be 100% transparent with you all, I've been struggling with modesty for the past 5 or 6 years because that's when I started making my own money. So that's when I started making money as a working woman. Before I was a student, you know, making a little chump change here and there as a student. But then when I started working full-time as a career woman, as an attorney, that's when I really started struggling with my modesty because, you know what? Let me be honest. No, it really wasn't. I would say it was even teenage years too, but I didn't have the liberty or the freedom, right? In my teenage years, I was using mommy's money. I was doing little summer jobs. So I really couldn't buy a lot of outfits with like summer job money. And so I always had it in the back of my head, like the looks I wanted to wear, the outfits I wanted to wear because of the media, social media, and the people that they put in the forefront in our faces, right? They wore like the tanks, the spaghetti straps, the tight outfits, the short shorts, the belly out, you know, the low cut cleavage, you know. They had all that. And to me, I saw that as, ooh, like, that is sexy, that is beautiful, they are confident, they love their bodies, they're showing off their bodies, and to me, that spoke confidence, in a sense, because they love their bodies so much that they're showing it off, and they're not hiding themselves, in a sense, right? Because when you wear spaghetti straps, your whole arm's out. When you wear, like, a low-cut cleavage, you're like, your chest area is out. And when you wear short shorts, your legs are out. So you're showing to the world, like, I love my legs. I love my arms. I love my chest. And when your belly's out, I love my hips and my abdomen area, right? And in a way, and in a weird, distorted way, I saw that as I love the body God gave me, right? I try to make it biblical. I try to make it spiritual, right? Because I am a Christian, I love God, and I want to live for God, but yet I had a toe in the world. And let's be honest, I had the whole foot in the world. I had the leg in the world. Okay, one leg I had in the world, one. And I oftentimes would say, yeah, I'm a Christian, I love God, but then I would have like a low-cut shirt that showed my breast, or I would have short shorts that would show a lot of leg. I have my belly out that show belly and abs, you know. And to me, I was praising God because I love the body He gave me, right? I am beautifully and wonderfully made, as that popular verse is in the Bible. And yes, it is true. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. And I would wear outfits that would show my body to show that I am beautifully and wonderfully made. But what I had to learn over time was that I was trying to be in the world and be of Christ at the same time. And you can't do that. You can't straddle the fence. You can't be of two contracts. And quite honestly, God doesn't want us to, right? He makes it plain for us, bringing out the good old handy dandy Bible. In Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." When I would read this verse began to convict me. This verse began to challenge me. I had to ask myself, what are the patterns of this world? And particularly, what are the patterns to women, right? And women are always pressured to look beautiful, right? And I had to start seeing, what is the world viewing as beautiful when they look at women, right? And there's women who have a fit body, and then nothing's wrong with having a fit body. But then there's women who wear short shorts, tight dresses, showing a lot of breasts, and your belly out, just being revealing, were the patterns of this world when it came to women. When it comes to women, right? To this day, it's still like that. We had an era of the curvaceous woman, right? Of being like thick and BBLs and breast lifts. And now I feel like we're trickling into an era of being thin and fit, right? And I've always been of that era. Like, I've always been a thin, fit, petite little gal. And that allowed me to get away with a lot of like short shorts because I'm not curvy, so you're not gonna see much of my buttocks because I'm not a curvy woman, so the pants really just falls. And then like, even when I would show my belly, you wouldn't see, I don't have a lot of hips, so it's not really curvaceous like an hourglass figure. So I thought that I was praising God by showing off my body, because I'm beautifully, wonderfully made. And B, I thought I was getting away with my revealing outfits because I was short and petite. But neither were true. I wasn't praising God my body by being revealing. And even though I was petite, I wasn't getting away with it by being revealing because of the discomfort that God would put in me through the convictions that he would place in my mind. Some outfits I would wear and I would feel uncomfortable in because it was revealing. But at the same time, although I knew it was revealing and although I was uncomfortable, I would still go outside because it was the patterns of this world. I knew the world will accept it. Even though I didn't feel comfortable in it. In my mind, I'm like, this is what the world's wearing. This is what the world wants me to wear. This is what I'm supposed to wear, right? As a woman. I put myself in positions where I wasn't comfortable in the outfit I was wearing, but I would still wear it because I knew the world would accept me. Even though I knew God wasn't proud of my outfit. I put the world above God many times, even though he was placing that discomfort in me so that I would change, so that I can put something more appropriate that would make me a Christ representative here in this world. But time and time again, I did not listen to him, and I continued to go out to the world in uncomfortable outfits because I knew the world loved it. And indeed, the world did love it because I would get stares and I would get compliments from people who said like, "Oh, I love your outfit. Oh, I love your style. Oh, you look nice." And that would make me feel good and be like, "Oh, you see, you're not feeling uncomfortable. The world loves it. I'm getting compliments, right?" And no. Because the compliment and the attention and the recognition of your outfit you want the approval from is God. You want God to say, "Okay, yes, you look like a Christ representative. You look like me," right? Because our purpose here on earth is to spread God's message. And sometimes the message can be in your outfit, not just in what you talk, but it's in how you walk and what you're walking in, what you're wearing. And I had to learn that because there were also times I would wear outfits and they didn't make me feel uncomfortable. But looking back now, and like in past Instagram posts, I'll be like, dang, I wore that? And I'll just be so embarrassed of myself now. Right back then, I didn't feel the embarrassment or discomfort. But now I look back and be like, dang, I wore that. Who is that girl? And that just comes to show that God really turned me around. All right? And I appreciate him for doing that because oftentimes you you have your friends and your family in your life who may tell you, like, that outfit is not of Christ, or you're being a bit revealing here, or that's not modest. And you don't really take their comments into consideration because my body, my choice. Just kidding. I'm kidding. But it's really because you don't really take their comments into consideration, because as I grew into an adult, I felt like I wanted to make decisions of what I wanted to wear, because so often growing up, my mom made a lot of decisions of what I was going to wear. And then going to private school, I oftentimes wore a uniform. Not oftentimes, I always wore uniforms. So now that I'm able to wear whatever I want to wear every day, like, I had a lot of say, I had a lot of power, I had a lot of control. And that made me choose the wrong decisions sometimes. And now I see why a lot of private schools make you wear uniform, because the uniform is like a dress code that wouldn't allow you to be revealing or be immodest. Like, that uniform is a uniform that is covering you. You're wearing a button-up. You're wearing a long pleated skirt, right? You're wearing cardigans, a blazer, right? So I now appreciate why private schools do have uniforms. But then the downside, at least for me, was now when I finally have that freedom, I took advantage of that freedom. And I know that's the wrong way to live your life. And that's why I'm making this video today, because I come to that realization that I was lost in the sauce of living in the world. So now I want to bring us to another verse in the Bible, and that's Galatians 5:17. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, because my spirit wanted to be of the world. My spirit wanted to wear something revealing, because that's what I saw women on social media and in the media, on television, were wearing, right? And I kind of developed over time SSD, all right? I made up that disorder. It's called showing skin disorder. Like, I always needed an outfit that showed a little skin, whether the skin was arms, whether the skin was belly, whether the skin was legs, whether the skin was chest. I had SSD, okay? That is showing skin disorder, that I had to show skin somewhere on my body in order for my outfit to be complete and to be sexy and beautiful and me to feel confident in it. Because I had like this distorted belief that if I cover up my body, I'm hiding something and I don't feel confident to show it. How weird is that? Now I'm of the belief that when I cover up and wear something that's like very appropriate, very like dressed and not revealing, that I find that more confident, that I was able to put on a stylish, fashionable outfit without revealing skin, right? And that allowed me to see bit by bit that I was being healed. I was being cured from SSD, showing skin disorder. So back to Galatians 5:17. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit. Spirit wanting me to be modest. Spirit wanting me to go out representing the world, representing Christ in how I dress, right? They are in conflict with each other. And when I tell you to this day, because to this day, I still struggle in putting together an outfit that doesn't show anything too revealing, because my closet is still full of outfits that are revealing, which possibly may lead me to make another video of purging my closet of immodest outfits or inappropriate outfits or not of Christ outfits, which I most likely would have to do, because I really have a lot of clothes. So that would allow me, one, to get rid of a lot of clothes that I don't wear, and two, allow me to cleanse my outfit, detox, not really, not a detox, really cleansing my outfit. What is it, baby boy? Now I want to talk about how God convicted me, how I got into this space of wanting to dress more modestly and wanting to dress more of a Christ representative here on earth. And that was during COVID, okay? Although COVID was such a unfortunate circumstance that happened in this world, it did bring some positives, right? And one positive it brought me was allow me to stay at home and really focus on something, because I wasn't able to go outside. So I really began to focus on my relationship with God. And that happened one day when I was just strolling through Instagram. And this was not even when I was focusing on God. But in the back of my head, I knew that was my next focus. That like, okay, my next focus is on strengthening my relationship with God the real way, right? Because I always had strengthened my relationship with God, focused on God, but no tangible steps to get there. Until I saw Instagram was real about how God convicted her to be, you know what? I actually forgot what the video was about. But all I know was that video spoke to me and made me see that I want a story like that. I want a story where God picked me up and turned me around into a whole other woman that I was becoming. Because I was on the journey to become a worldly woman who said they were a Christian. I was on a journey to become the most lukewarm Christian there is, right? Although there's no such thing as lukewarm Christian, because it's whether you're a Christian or you're not. There's no in between, really. So I was just lukewarm for God, right? And I knew I wanted a story where God picked me up and turned me to the direction where I was going to be hot for God and live for Him. And in every area of my life, you would see Him and how I dress and how I talk and how I walk. And I would just exude and ooze, I love God and I'm on earth here for God and I'm fulfilling His purpose and I'm delivering His message that He wants the world to hear. Like, that was how I wanted to now live my life. And it was all due to that one Instagram reel, plus the mindset I had while I was in COVID to draw nearer to God. And I feel like now I'm living that story, how I dedicated my social medias to God. I'm no longer just posting just to show off a sexy outfit. Like, I'm posting to show God's goodness, posting to show His testimonies, His blessings, how He is just delivering in my life each and every day. And this video is exactly what I'm talking about how God delivered me from once dressing revealing to now dressing more modestly for Him. And yes, I'm not perfect still. Sometimes I do have my slips because I have a lot of outfits in my closet with the tagging that are past the return window. And I feel like I wasted my money, so I have to wear at least one time, okay? So that I feel I got my money's worth out of it. And I need God to deliver me from that mindset. He is delivering me from that mindset. As I'm speaking to you, I know that's not the way I should think. Just because I spent money on it, I should wear it. No, because me wearing that outfit one day may further somebody to continue to dress immodestly and revealing. However, if I choose to continue to wear outfits that are modest, and when I go out, I'm living proof that you can be beautiful and sexy and still dress modestly, right? Because so often, we're seeing people who don't dress modestly in the media and the news and on the streets, that when you see someone who is dressed modestly, you're like, oh, your attention is actually drawn to them quicker because they stand out, right? Unless someone's like super, super, super revealing, then they stand out too. So that allowed me to then seek the word, right? So this is all during the COVID era where we can't go outside. So my focus now is drawing nearer to God. God shows me this Instagram reel about Him turning this woman's life around. And of course, I go and seek the word, which is our life manual here on earth. And I turn to 1 Timothy 2:9-10, which read, "Women should adorn themselves in respectable apparel, and with modesty and self-control, with what is proper for women who profess godliness with good works." And this spoke to me because I want to be somebody who adorns himself in respectable apparel, right? Not something that's not respectable, because that's just never someone who Okay, sorry that my camera died. Now I'm using a whole different camera. I'm someone who wants to be seen as respectable, right? And that's even in how I talk and also in how I dress. So when I see 1 Timothy 2:9-10 telling me women should adorn themselves in respectable apparel, what does that mean? What does that look like? And he goes further by saying, with modesty and self-control, right? Because modesty, we know what that is. It's something that's not revealing, and covering. And then self-control is because even though I have the liberty to dress however and wear whatever I want to wear, doesn't mean I should take that liberty, right? I should have some self-control and lean on the Spirit rather than my fleshly desire, and dress more like Christ. And it tells you with what is proper for women who profess godliness. And I am someone who professes themselves to be a Christian, who loves God and wants to do God's work, but yet I look like the world. And it's just no. And I'm not going to preach the lesson of in order to reach the world, to preach God's message, I have to look like the world in order to draw them in. I don't think that message is necessary either. I feel like you can still dress modestly while reaching the world to spread God's message. And that is why I chose to make that decision to no longer dress revealing, because it wasn't serving me or God's people. Because if I love God, if I want to be a Christian, I want to be a Christ representer, dressing like that is not the way. Is not the way. If I want to spread God's message, dressing like that again is not the way. So once again, God just continues to reveal himself to me through the scriptures, which are the living manual, right? Another verse I want to turn to is 1 Peter 3:3-4. And that reads, "Your beauty should not come from outward adornment. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle, quiet spirit." And we all know people say, be beautiful on the inside and out, right? But first and foremost, work on the inside, because that's the hardest thing to work on. Because being beautiful on the outside is easier, and being beautiful on the inside is much harder, because sometimes you may have bad habits you have to work on, and it takes a while to break bad habits. And then sometimes you have what do you call that? Just cultural ways that you have to break from, or just things that you want to get rid of in your life are going to be harder to break depending on how long you've been carrying these bad habits. But some things are harder to break than others, right? And that's why it's more important to work on your inner self, because that takes more time than it does to work on your outward appearance. Right? That's just a swipe to just buy something and look beautiful, right? Whereas working on the inside means praying, fasting, drawing near to God, because he's the only one who can change you. But you have to acknowledge where you need to changing and allow God to convict you and accept the conviction, so that you can be who God wants you to be on your inner self. So even though God was convicting me, and even though I knew what was right, I bet you're wondering, why am I still struggling? And the reason why I'm still struggling is because I'm still in that constant battle every day. Every day I have to wake up and say, I'm choosing God. I'm choosing the Spirit. Every day I have to wake up before I get dressed and say, I'm choosing the Spirit. Because you will have that one slip of a second to say, oh, this is cute, without even asking God, am I representing you? God, do I look like you? God, is this how you want me to present myself to the world? Right? Like, these are the questions I now have to ask myself before I get dressed, before I leave the house. Because if I just let 1 second of, oh, this is cute, just stir up in my mind, game over. I'm now caught up in the cute concept of, I'm gonna look cute today, instead of, I'm gonna look like Christ today, right? And I know that's not what God wants me to do. He doesn't want me to just go outside and look cute. He wants me to go outside and look like Christ. So I also had to learn that although I know what to do and sometimes I don't do it, this verse right here convicted me and scared me to place those questions on myself before I get dressed so that I don't fall victim to flesh. And the reason why I created those questions before I leave the house is because of this verse. It's James 1:22. It says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. So the word is saying, don't just listen to the word, do what it says. Be a doer, right? Not just a hearer of the word, because that's what God wants us to do, right? Not just listen to the word, but do what the word says. And I want to follow God's instruction. If God's instructed me to be a doer of his word, I knew that I can't keep having these slips and these slips and these slips and these slips, because I know better. And when God knows you know better, it's not just ignorance. Like, now it's a sin. So by having this verse in my mind of being a doer of his word, I had to create those questions so I don't fall victim to the flesh, so that the spirit wins each time I change and put on clothes, because I don't want to miss the opportunity to be a witness of Christ, to be a representative of Christ, and to look like Christ. So all in all, I know I'm still in the journey and I still struggle and have my slips here and there. I know I'm not gonna be perfect, but I'm making the steps and creating the kind of like guardrail so that I don't fall into sin. I hope what I'm sharing with you about my journey and what I'm doing in my journey to become a better Christ representative here in this world and how I dress encourages you, motivates you, inspires you to do the same, because I know it's not easy, especially with what we're seeing in the world, on social media, on TV, in movies, in music videos, in magazines, people walking down the street and you see them looking revealing and confident, but you can also look modest and confident, because that's what God has called us to do. And if we want to follow what he says in his word, be doers and not just hearers, that is what he calls us to do. And I want to leave you with one last verse, and that is Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, right? And that clothing is modest attire, modest apparel, modest clothing, modest fashion. That's the end of this video. Again, I hope you guys were inspired, encouraged, motivated to make that decision in your life to dress more modestly, because it's definitely a game changer, and it pushes your boundaries on your fashion, because I'm loving different outfits I'm finding on how to be more modest. And I definitely feel more confident walking outside. I feel more confident definitely as I'm less revealed. And it definitely changed how I used to think. It's crazy how I used to think being more revealing meant I was more confident. Now I feel more confident when I'm less revealing, which is just definitely God's doing, because I know God's way is the best way. So allow God to lead you, allow God to convict you, and I promise you, you will walk outside looking confident, more confident each and every day. So I love VictoryRiders. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more Christ-like videos. I hope you guys catch a victory, because this was definitely a victory for me of listening to God's conviction and being more modest. All right, share some convictions that God has given you and the victories that you have received as well, because I love to hear from them, because I may be going through the same and I can make a video about it and share it with the world. I love you guys, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.